their medium in their house, you know? Like if you're a super rich photographer or whatever it is, like if you're a successful anything, I'm sure you have your field and your craft and your gym per se at your house so that you can constantly work on it. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, artists who don't have studios in their houses.
Right,
It's like,
right.
how do you not have the gym in your house? What if you don't have your gym in your house? It's crazy. How are you gonna practice? You can only
Yeah.
practice when you go to the studio?
It's like a writer not having a computer in the house. So
Literally, it's
I just
that. It's
felt like
like,
pretty much
right.
have that. So it's a little easier on that end.
Yeah. No, but it's true. It's like a painter not having a canvas in his house. Or like
Sure,
it doesn't make any sense.
sure. So what do you think are some of the things, we're everybody's doing live streaming and,
Yeah.
that, but, what do you think the things are that are actually going to survive once we come out on the other side of this thing? I can't imagine that live streaming is going to be as big as it is now once we can all go back,
Yeah.
to venues.
Live streaming just feels hella weird to me, to be honest.
Yeah,
That's why I haven't done like the live stream concert thing. It just feels, and I get that people are just trying to do whatever they can. First of all, a lot of these artists are doing the live streaming because it's their only way to make money right now, you know?
right.
But other ones are doing it just to, I get it. Like you're trying to just stay in touch with your fans. And I don't know, every time I've like watched the live stream of someone's concert for like 15 seconds, I'm like, this feels like a Black Mirror episode. Like this isn't even what it's supposed to be. And I know people are just trying to make the most of the situation, but I don't know. It's I want my shows to remain shows, and what I intend them to be. So that's why I haven't really gotten to the live streaming. But I think when this is all normal again, I don't even know what normal is, but yeah, I don't see the live streaming being that heavy. I think because people like adjust quickly. They get over things quickly. And before you know it, once like concerts are back on, no one's gonna be trying to live stream their concert from home.
Right, right,
So
right.
I think
What
it's
about
just
what about like in-game kind of experiences like Marshmello and Travis Scott and so forth? Like in Fortnite or
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's wild. That's a wild thing. When I saw that, I didn't really understand it, but it was wild. It got like a lot of people, why there's so many people playing that game. So to do a concert inside of the game is kind of nuts. But then once again, it's like we're going into that. It's like I don't know. I feel like it's a slippery slope because then you're getting into that whole very virtual, non-human interaction territory where it's like, I don't know. I just want my shows and my concerts to remain what they're supposed to be. There's nothing like, you know, in person and you feel the crowd and the crowd hears you, feels your energy, the whole thing. Obviously, that can't happen right now, but moving forward, like, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't think the live streaming and all that stuff is really going to be that prevalent. I think people are just trying to make the most out of the situation, which I get. But
sure, sure.
yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of the DIY philosophy, what would your advice be to people out there who aren't artists but are trying to kind of apply that mentality to whatever it is they're doing, in their day jobs? Like, how do you kind of translate that? Maybe it's not having a studio in your home, but something that the everyday person can kind of apply to their own career.
I mean, it's hard because there's certain like a regular job. There is no DIY. If you're like certain jobs you have to show up to work, and that just is what it is. Although it's funny how we're starting to see how not mandatory it is to be in an office. All these different companies have been like, oh yeah, you can work from home indefinitely. You can work because you realize that as long as you have the internet, you can really get a lot of things done. Um, but yeah, the DIY thing, I would just tell people to try and master as much of your craft as you can, and try and be as self sufficient as you can, so that regardless if a pandemic happens or whatever, you're just more. It's more of a sure thing. You're more reliable. You can, I've never liked the idea of having to pick up the phone and really have to call anyone to make something happen in my life. I'd rather like, man, if I need a video, all right, let me go buy a camera, let me go set it up. Da, 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 da. I don't know. It's like it's. I feel like it's easier for artists to be DIY because it's a creative space. It's harder for, you know, I don't know, it's harder for regular job people to be DIY, like I said. But I don't know, man. Self sufficient. I want to focus on the artist. If you're an artist and you don't have the studio at your house, you're bugging. You're bugging. I know so many artists who don't know how to record themselves. Don't like, they were shut down, not working because the studios were closed. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. You're a professional artist and you don't have the studio at your house. Nah, because at that point, I don't know, and especially a lot of people in the hip hop space be calling themselves bosses. How are you a boss, but you got to leave your house to work? How does that even make sense? Like, you're not a boss. You're just a really well paid worker. You're not a boss. Like, a boss doesn't have to leave his house to fucking do his job, so, or her job. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, and it's dope though because I have seen a lot of artists on the other hand, kind of start implementing these, the DIY methods, the recording themselves and what, fuck it, I'm gonna make it work and whatever. But I think the scary thing too though with not being self-sufficient as an artist is when you do finally venture into that space and you're like, oh, I want to record myself, you're not confident in it. And so you've like almost tricked your brain into thinking that my music is only gonna be good or worthy or professional if I go to a professional studio. And so if I'm doing it at my house, there's no way that this can be good. It's like I'm just doing it at my house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they get this crazy brainwashing where they literally think it's about the studio, it's about the professionalism of the. It's like, nah, you can. I mean, I've made so many platinum songs in a hotel room with no speakers and or just in my basement by myself. It's literally it's on your head. Shout out to my book.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, for the last one of my questions before we get into the audience stuff, let's turn to the social justice side of things.
Sure.
You've applied the DIY ethos there too.
Yeah.
The white silence is racism to raise money for
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter organizations and so forth. So tell me your inspiration there and sort of where that's all going. I know you wanted to raise $1 million and you were getting around close to halfway there, maybe.
Yeah.
How's that
Yeah.
going?
So I mean that was from a T-shirt from 3 years ago, and I was doing this festival run in 2017. It was like 5 festivals or something, and I hit up one of my good friends, Kid Super, and I was like, I got the idea from Andre 3000. If you remember when he came out for a couple concerts or something, and he had the black jumpsuits on with the like messages on them in white. So I was like, man, that's just such a good idea because at the end of the day, you're on stage, and what better place to like promote a message than on stage? And I don't even have to say anything; I can just wear it. So I was like, cool, let's like plan 5 T-shirts. So the first one was the Xanax and Lean one that went, it did what it did. And then the very next one was if you want to change the system, speak up. White silence is pro-racism, which I always found it funny that one didn't go viral, but the Xanax and Lean thing did, and it just let me know that white kids care more about drugs than racism. So that was telling. But so that was the inspiration. The inspiration even for that message was, I mean, I've been a vocal person. I'm not shy of confrontation. I'm not shy of controversy. Like, I feel like I've always kind of stood up and spoke against what I feel needs to be spoken out on. And so racism has just been one of those things that I've always tried to, talk about and mention, whether it's tweeting, whether it's putting in the songs, or whether it's a T-shirt. But so when all this started happening again for the millionth time, where white police are killing, unarmed black people, it's like, you know what? Let's try to mobilize my audience and generate some capital. That was the thing that tripped me out with artists, right? You got so many artists that are way bigger than me, that have way more white fans than me, who are just putting up screenshots of their feelings and then like moving on with their lives. It's like, yo, all you have to do is mobilize your audience. You have millions and millions and millions of followers. sell your t-shirt doesn't even have to have anything to do with Black Lives Matter. Just sell merch and donate the money. Mobilize your audience. So that was the obvious idea that hit me because I was like, I got a platform, I got an audience, so I can sell stuff and raise money. Um, so yeah, so we got up to $500,000 net, which is really wild to me. I don't know what I was thinking it was gonna reach, but it wasn't that. Because when I was posting like, oh, total sales and those are just total sales. That's not cost of goods taken out or anything.
Right,
So
right.
it got up to 500K total sales, but that was still 350 net. So we got it up though to 500 net. So we're about to donate in the next couple of days. And it was dope. We got to speak with the founders of Black Lives Matter, and it's three amazing women, and it was an incredible experience, to even just be able to like, it was one of the few times I was like, nah, you know what? This is what you're supposed to be using your fucking platform for.
Mhm.
You realize that, wow, I'm sitting here with 3 million followers, a lot of followers, but like I said, there's a lot of artists with way more than that. There's a lot of people with way more than that. I was like, you know what? I was like, this is what it's about. Is doing something bigger than you and using your audience and mobilizing them to generate money for people who need it. And it's bigger than me. And I was like, I was and still am amazed at the power of just unity and people coming together for one cause. I think it's really telling. But like I said, I wish other artists put their fan bases together and generated money because they could have done it. Any one of these big artists could have literally put up like a fucking coffee mug and said all proceeds are going to Black Lives Matter. And they would have raised $1 million in like 2 days. So I don't know, the screenshots of like, yeah, man, this is fucked up, and anyway, praying for y'all. It's like, what the fuck does that do? You have fucking 30 million followers. Sell a fucking sock. Like, what do you like? Do something. Put some money up. Shut the fuck up. No one cares about your weird feelings to make it seem like you give a fuck. Put some money up.
Well, I think that's as good a note as any to switch over to the audience questions. So we
Yes.
got them all flowing in.
Yeah.
So I'll start firing away.
Fire.
First one, what do you do? What do you do
Yeah.
to step back from reality for a little while, given everything that's going on, just for to stay sane?
I think it's more of like a mental thing that I've had to do. And it's actually been a very, uh, 2020 has been a big reset. And mentally, what the quarantine allowed me to do was it forced me to have time to sit and just think, which a lot of times can be bad because you can kind of lose to yourself. But it was funny. I just started thinking about 2015, like over and over again, and just how, you know, regardless of everything that's going on, just as far as tapping back into like, you know, what got me here and everything. I don't know. I had this big moment of clarity where I was like, nah, man, like this is, I was looking around at my house. I was looking around at my life. I was like, this is everything that I asked for. I remember when all this used to just be a dream and an imagination. Um, and so it was a mental check I had to do, because I refuse to just like, I've been positive memories out of in the middle of fucking chaos just because I don't want it to be all bad. I'm trying to make the most out of it. So, but I think, like I said, a lot of it is mental, and you gotta kind of just check yourself and be appreciative of the things in your life you know that matter, that you're grateful for. Like, all my family's healthy, they're all still alive. My friends, all that shit is beautiful. People are dying out here, so like even have your health is really having your health is the greatest thing. People don't realize how just important that is until like my friend Bugas just tore his Achilles, and it's like all of a sudden you can't walk, and it's crazy how quick you just even appreciate being able to walk. It's just like little shit like that. Like, it's just about gratitude, to be honest. Gratitude is the key to everything.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so a couple more. You know,
Sorry, my answers are extremely
no,
long.
no, no. This is great. This is great stuff. No, I mean, sometimes I do these, and the answers are kind of like yes and no, and it's like,
Right, right, right.
what are you gonna do? But yeah, no. You talk about having your basement and your house and everything, and all this space to spread out and create and do stuff. But what's your recommendation for people who have more cramped living quarters, whether they're in a room in an apartment with roommates or living in a studio or something like that in a city under lockdown?
Yeah,
How do they kind of maintain that creative energy?
that's hard. That's hard. That's hard because it's about because it's about the energy, and if your energy is cramped. But like I said, you gotta go to a place mentally. You gotta tap in mentally. That's when it really is on your head, because at the end of the day, you can look at that cramped space as cramped, or you can be grateful that you even have a space, and grateful that you even have the ability to create still. And that should inspire you. That's the thing. Gratitude these days is what's inspiring me. Whenever I learned, what I realized during this quarantine is that being jaded is just a lack of gratitude. And I fell into that space where I got jaded, like, oh, big, like, I got jaded to my house. I got jaded to my life. And I'm like, nah, lack of inspiration comes from being jaded, which comes from lack of gratitude. The second I tap back into 2015 and I'm like, damn, this is everything I wanted, I'm super inspired. I'm like, what? Let's fucking go, But the lack of gratitude will have you feeling really, really just drained and lethargic. I think gratitude is important, no matter if you are in a fucked up situation, because you know what, someone always has it worse. So easier said than done to be grateful in a shit situation, but you gotta find you gotta find that space of gratitude to tap into. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose yourself.
For sure. All right. Final question.
Oh, hold on. Do you mind? Because I saw someone, and they always ask me this, and I answer it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, how did you promote your music, your songs a week? Did you hire PR, rate? I don't know how many times I gotta tell y'all, right? Listen, the number one promotion technique, in my opinion, is word of mouth. That's it. And so to generate word of mouth, you have to stand out. You have to do something that's worthy of talking about. So the word of mouth that I was able to access was facilitated by me dropping a song every week. So I would drop a song. Now, granted, step one, the music has to be good. A lot of artists have shit music, and like they'll never admit it. They'll never come to terms with it, and they don't know why it's not working. But I was dropping quality music every week. My marketing for my most recent song was my next one. And that's why I always found it funny with labels who didn't know that you can drop songs while you're working something else, and it's not gonna fuck anything up. It's not like, oh, you got to spend 3 months on this one song. But so my best marketing was my next song, because it kept people engaged, it kept fans engaged, and at that time, no one was dropping more music than me. So it kept people engaged. It got people talking, because it was like, damn, here's another good song and another good song and another good song. And like I said, I was shooting selfie videos in my, in the basement to the songs that were reacting, or to the love songs. I would sit there and lip sync, super cringe to to love songs, and it's like, you do that every week, and it's quality music. You do that for 2 years, and something's gonna shake. And as far as hiring, people are like, oh, well, what's the budget though for promo? There's no budget. Like, if you want to sit there, I used to think this. If you think that paying X amount of money to get you on this site, or paying X amount of money to do anything, like anything on that digital space, it's not gonna do shit. You could go pay all these blogs to post you on the same day. If you don't have real fans, it's not gonna do shit for you. It's just gonna look like something's happening for about all of 5 minutes until they post the next person 10 minutes later. It's like none of that shit does anything. You have to generate fans. I see all these artists trying to skip steps. Like, basically, how do I blow up faster, and can I pay? It's like, no, you can't. You can't. Sorry, you can't. If you're looking for some sort of like blow up quick scheme, then you're just going to be disappointed. You know, the reality is you can't pay to play. You can, but if you don't have real fans, it's not going to last.
Right.
You need to generate real fans, and to generate real fans is by having a real catalog. I don't know anybody who's a diehard fan of an artist with one song out. You can't be. What are you a diehard fan of? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the thing with me, when people would discover me, they instantly either hated me because they just didn't like it, or they were instantly diehard fans. Why? Because when you found me and went and looked me up, there was 300 songs out. So now you go down the rabbit hole and you go find 10, 20 songs that you love, and you're like, well, this is my favorite artist now. But if I only have one song out, how am I going to keep you? You're not going to be that diehard of a fan. There's nothing to be a fan of. So there's no skipping steps. You got to generate a fan base. All this like paying to play shit is out. Y'all are just trying to skip steps.
Yeah, and obviously it's all about catalog these days. So
Yeah, and because then when you own that catalog, man, people don't understand that like in the music business, it's all about these big checks. You know, these very like once a year, if that, big checks of like an advance or something, and it's cool. A big heap of money at once is cool, but the reality is, let's say it's $5 million. It's like you got that $5 million once, and you're not getting any more money from those people until you make it all back. Or like it's a more manageable thing. People get $5 million handed to them at once, and they spend six. You know, so it's like as opposed to getting 50K at a time, 50, 50, 50, 50. You know, it's kind of those things you see on Twitter where it's like, do you want $5 million right now, or do you want $5 million spaced out over the next 52 weeks?
mhm.
You know, if you can get both, get both. But the one thing that I would not sacrifice is getting that money every week. I like my TuneCore has saved me, especially in times like these where I can't tour. I was like, man, I talk about it with my friends all the time. I'm like, if I didn't have a TuneCore, I would be out here sweating just like the rest of these artists,
Right.
because it's like, what would I be living off of? I would have to live off of like old advances, right? And then knowing that no more money's coming in because there's no tours.
Right.
My album just came out, so that there's that advance. So it's like, damn, now I gotta make this stretch, which is like people. If I'm running a company, which I am, Russ My Way Inc., and my employees are my songs, and their salespeople. I'm running a sales company.
You're out there working. You don't have to
They're
do.
out there working. So this song is a better salesperson than this one. Like, so on and so forth. Psycho Part 2 and Ain't Nobody Take My Baby are great salesmen. There's other ones that aren't so great, but they still generate their little 30K a year, whatever. But it's like, guess what? If I want my sales company to make more money, I'll just hire more salespeople, aka I'll just drop more music. So it's
Right.
kind of just, it's a beautiful thing to be in control of your own destiny, fate,
Yeah.
wallet, everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are pretty much out of time, but final
Are
question
we?
before we go. Yeah, unfortunately. What is the first thing that you're going to do when all the restrictions are lifted and and it's safe to go out and do everything we could in the before times?
I'm getting the fuck out of the country ASAP.
Where are you going?
I don't know, but I'm getting the fuck out of the country ASAP anyway right now, because I'm gonna just take a jet and go to some remote house on an island somewhere so that everything is safe and kosher and cool. Because I'm like, man,
And in a few minutes, whether you're positive or negative. If you're positive, you have to quarantine until
Right.
it's not contagious anymore. And if you're not positive, or you test negative, they let you in, then you're good, and it's
Really?
yeah, yeah. So
Iceland. I haven't been to
Iceland,
Iceland. I've wanted to go, and that's a quick flight too. That's
yeah,
interesting.
it's not
Great
bad.
information, Zach.
Yeah. All right, Russ.
Wow.
Well, as always, I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. Sorry for like the 4 minute delay. I was dealing with my newborn.
No problem. No problem. Well, enjoy it and
Yeah,
have a great holiday weekend. And thanks again, Russ. Really appreciate it.
absolutely appreciate you, man. I'm glad we could do this.
All right. And once again, everybody, thank you for watching. I'm Zachary.
Yes,
This is Russ. And
yes,
Forbes Ask the Expert. Tune in next time. Thanks so much.
yep. My guys.